Good afternoon. I have had to try this a couple of times because, first of all, I didn't have it on record. So I have to record this whole thing all over again. At any rate, my photo here is the latest photo that I have, which isn't it's about 6 months old, I'd say. It's the best I could have. So I hope it's good enough. I don't have the filtration techniques and all that stuff to have good pictures. So I hope this is good enough. At any rate, I wanted to make some statements about what's going on in the activism, and especially in the YouTube streets. The main one that I think has been made a lot of progress is Michi X, who is now deciding she's going to retire from activism, which I think is a good idea because she's been doing it for a while and it's a lot of wear and tear on your psyche, not to mention emotional well being and even health. All of that is congealed because there were so many people who gave her a lot of problems, hard times, who trolled her all the time. And, after a while, it's over the top. She was the only one in the Fly Nubian Queen group that I thought was as sincere as she was. She actually did things that were activating. Now, maybe there were some other people who actually did some stuff, but the rest of those people that were in the Fly Nubian Queen group from Boyce Watkins, they were full of it. Um, they weren't very successful because they were just hustling people for whatever they could get. Whereas when Michi X came on the scene, she was the real deal. And in fact, she was the one who made the platform grow. And then she got paid for it, but she didn't even care about the money because she was able to make money in her own anyway. So, in a way, she was the most sincere one, in my opinion. Now, people trolled her a lot. They talked about her like a dog. She helped people directly just to have them mistreat her or crap right in her face. I think that is terrible. The type of person who would do a thing like that to somebody who really went out of their way to reach out and help, what kind of person are they? They are no good at all. And if anything goes on, they're not going to improve their lives. They obviously got in a position to need help just because they're trifling. So now they're just on their own because when you reach out and help somebody thinking that you really can help them and they turn around and treat you like that, that's just trifling as hell. So, I hope whoever did that to her or anybody else for that matter that went out of their way to reach out and help, if they don't have nobody else to help them anymore, it's on them. They shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. And if they weren't so daggone trifling, they wouldn't have been in that position in the first place. Now, another thing that I noticed was that there's a lot of people who, I don't know why they would be jealous of someone who was put themselves at risk trying to help everybody else. We have had to, we're looking out for other people and knowing that funding and government help has been extended to a lot of people that really shouldn't even be getting all that funding. And the very people who are paying into it are not getting anything at all, except getting more and more taxes taken out and draining people for everything that they work to earn, not to get anything in return. Now, that's the way I see it, and it's unfortunate. As much as I'd like to see everybody get help, there's got to be some reciprocation somehow. Another form of activism that's real interesting is animal activism. Of course, I'm an animal advocate. So, by all means, I have to include the animals in all of this. You would not believe some of the seedy people that are involved in rescuing animals. The horse rescue is probably the worst. What's interesting is you have eccentric people dealing with animals, and the animals don't judge them because animals can't judge people based on human standards. So if you got a crackpot owning a bunch of animals, the animals don't know the difference. The only thing they see is whether they're getting fed or not and being taken care of or not. But the strange thing about it is these people don't know their limits when it comes to looking after animals. And so they hoard them or they end up taking in too many of it and they know they can't have the money to look after them. So what they end up doing is hustling everybody else, stealing, doing dishonest things to claim that they're taking care of the animals. And the bad thing about it is a lot of times the animals really aren't taken care of. There are people who use their own pets, quote unquote, that they went and got themselves as rescues and ask for money for rescues, especially if they have a certain number of them. That is the most ridiculous thing. That now you talk about a hustle. That's crazy. And see that makes people not want to contribute to compassionate causes because you got people like that out there hustling the system. So this is the thing. When you have people who care about a cause and want to do the right thing, it's very important that these people are given the proper support and not given a hard time because that eliminates any possibility that people or animals or whatever in need will get what they're supposed to get. And it should ever be in this country, it should never be a need for people to have charity or anything like that in the first place because we got enough money circulating in this country that nobody should go hungry, nobody should have medical issues and all that. But that's an idealism. And you know that's not the reality. So the money that is had to take care of everything is hoarded by people who just want to keep it all to themselves. But you can't die and take it with you. So something's got to give. So at any rate, I'm hoping that all these people that are, trying to help and do good things aren't chased away because they will eventually go away and we won't have any more. Malcolm X and uh, Martin Luther King were two people who sacrificed their lives for being leaders of the civil rights movement. And it seems like that's the only two people that we know who actually participated in the civil rights movement. That's not the only two people. They're just the largest ones that got the recognition. The people following behind them, they have a lot of people who actually risked their lives and got killed fighting for these things to make a difference in the world and make a better place. And they're not given nearly the recognition. And we have to remember that all human beings have flaws. Nobody's perfect. Malcolm X was not perfect. Martin Luther King was definitely not perfect. All of them, and but yet we can't judge them in on the same note because back then things were different. They worked with what they had to work with back then. Now we have a lot more advantages than what they had back then to work with. So these guys, they were killed based on what they were fighting for, and a lot of people, a lot of activists are still not, they're not dying over it right now. Maybe they are, but and another thing about activism that's real interesting is people expect it to be profitable now. Now that's really weird because you should not be an activist just to make money, but it's now a profit making thing. They paid people to come up to protests in Minneapolis based on the ICE situations with the people dealing with ICE. They're paying people to go up there and protest. I cannot believe this. I wouldn't, but you know what? That's not my type of protest. If I have to protest, I'm not going to go because I'm getting paid. But you'd be surprised some of the stuff that's going on. And some of these people that went up there and got protests and got recognized for it, actually, they weren't the best people in the world. They had flaws, they had character flaws, the whole bit. But we cannot talk about Martin Luther King or Malcolm X character flaws when we have people right now that are flawed by a long shot, even committing child abuse. to and then call themselves being activists. So you gotta, we're all human. We all have problems, but and it's hard to judge. But I'm disappointed in this whole scenario, so I stay out of it. Uh, but at any rate, Michi X is the last of the Mohegans. I doubt seriously if there will be another one. More than there will be not be another Malcolm X. There will not be another Martin Luther King. There will be similar people who contribute, and I'm not going to take that away from them. But those icons out there, there's only a few, and that were actually called on by God to get out there and do it. Do it. So it's amazing. We also have to remember not to idolize people like God. People are not God. People are just humans. They have flaws like everybody else. I mean, we're not perfect, but we're hoping that we can at least contribute something good to the world and make it a better place. So I'm going to keep this recording short so it doesn't get messed up. I have a lot of noisy things going on in my house. So I'm going to end this now. Thank you for listening. I wish you all well. Be safe and happy. Thank you for listening.